Senator Rubio urging his colleagues to increase that child tax credit just a few hours ago, tweeting, tax negotiators didn't have much trouble finding a way to lower the top tax bracket and to start the corporate tax cut a year early, adding at least a few $100s in refundable cuts for working families who seem to always be forgotten isn't too hard to do either. So, will GOP leaders cave into Rubio's demands in exchange for his vote? If not, how will this impact the bill? Let's go to our panel. Emily Jashinsky, a Washington Examiner commentary writer, Marc Lotter, former special assistant to President Trump and former press secretary to Vice President Pence, and Beverly Hallberg, president of District Media Group and a contributor to The Hill. Marc, I've got to start with you. You understand these how these last-second Washington, D.C. Events like this go down, and this one is a true nail-biter. Do you think Rubio has drawn a solid line in the sand, and if so, how do the tax writers get around it?
I think he'll still get there. Senator Rubio has been a champion for increasing the child tax credit. The House passed it originally $1,600. The Senate did $2,000. The final bill has it at $2,000, which is where Senator Rubio wanted it.
With all due respect, he said it was $1,100. So I'm not sure, if he's getting bad information.
Well, they're talking about how much could be refunded if you don't pay taxes in the first place. So the credit is still going up to $2,000. It's the refundable amount where there's a negotiation right now. And I think Senator Rubio will get there at the end of the day. He's been a big champion on tax cuts and growing the economy. And there's still time to get these things worked out. This is where senators typically allow themselves to, stand on the fence while they can continue to negotiate the bottom deal.
Sure, it all, Emily, harkens back to the Cornhusker kickback. We know some special arrangements have to be made, but by the same token, every time you acquiesce to one demand like this, it means the price tag of the bill goes up and you've got to find money somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of other senators right now feel like with Marco Rubio saying he's a no, they're more empowered at this point to make their demands. But I think we're seeing some really smart messaging from Marco Rubio. That tweet that he put out encapsulates it. But it's not just messaging for him. And this is something that leadership in the Senate should be really aware that he feels deeply on. He's made that very clear throughout this process. So I don't think he's bluffing, but I also think that he will get there. He will get something. We're hearing rumblings that people in Senate leadership are trying to figure out a way to give Marco Rubio something, even it isn't the total refundability that he and Mike Lee have proposed.
Bev, you're an expert on marketing or messaging, that is. To sort of hint that rich people got a break here at the last minute, corporations got a break at the last minute, almost sounds like Democratic talking points. And certainly this might set Rubio up not just for now, but in the future, although I don't know that is doing his party any favors right now.
Yeah, if I didn't see the name on the tweet, I would actually wonder if it was a tweet straight from Bernie Sanders. I mean, it's one thing if Marco Rubio wants to talk about what the child tax credit should be. And by the way, it is doubling, so we already are seeing an increase. But for him to make the statement that this is about, well, if working class Americans don't get this, this is because it's a tax break for the wealthy. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Most Republicans realize that corporations are small businesses. Many small businesses have families. I'm just surprised he's taking this angle, but I would agree with everyone else. I think he will get there. All
right, so everyone agrees, Mark, but how do we get there? Give us some examples. We know earlier in the week, 22% was floated. You've got a 1 percentage point there. Is that ultimately probably where we see this happen?
It's possible. I don't think they'll go higher than 21% right now. Obviously, remember, the president wanted 15. He proposed 20. Now he's accepting 21. It'd be very hard to get there. This is such a finite portion of the bill where you're talking about the amount that can be refunded and the scales in which they are refundable. So I think there's probably some wiggle room there. I think he'll get there. You're going to have to give him something. It's just a question of how do they finagle that and keep it within the $1.5 trillion of the Senate rules.
Emily, there is something to be said, though, for this bill because virtually no one likes it. And I guess when everyone had their idea what the ideal bill should be, but we've learned that you've got some complicated issues there. You've got a lot of people who are protecting their own home turf. And what's important in California is not always important in Texas. And also, things like the benefits for the hedge fund managers and things like that, universally disliked. And yet I was told today that Wall Street brutalized everyone, that there was no way to move on that. And it's sort of disgusting to hear, but it's the obvious truth that the smaller folks out there, the small businesses Bev talked about, they really don't have a true voice in Washington, D.C.
No, yeah, that's absolutely true, and I think that's exactly right. We're seeing that the competing interests within the Republican Party made this a lot more difficult than it probably sounded at first blush, because there's all these different interests in the Republican Party that are compounded by the fact that the mainstream media does them no favors when they're trying to do something that they believe is good for the American people, and that a lot of the mass shows will be good for many people. So it's not easy. I think it was probably predicted to be easier than it would be. And I think when you look at someone like Senator Marco Rubio, like, he has put so much effort into the child tax credit at this point, you're going to see that that's why this is so important to him at the end stage here.
But let's be honest, though, guys, this is not a traditional Republican issue to begin with, right? This was something proposed by Ivanka, embraced immediately by a father, and it's part of the bill. That's a great thing, and perhaps it's a smart move for the Republicans to move to the center on something like this with more and more working families out there, Beverly. But you know, the Republicans did put themselves in a hole because they're embracing things like this they never embraced before. And, of course, no one talked about cutting spending.
Yeah, when you look at the deficit, there are a lot of deficit hawks Republicans are, and I understand where they're coming from. That's why there are even discussions about the alternative minimum tax portions of that staying in. But I think you're missing the point when you say, look, when you cut taxes, especially when you cut taxes on corporations, you stimulate the economy so much. So, yeah, there are scare tactics that especially Democrats are putting out there, the narrative that they're saying that, first of all, why are Democrats all of a sudden concerned about a deficit? That's always surprising that they are. That they're saying that, but it's
that they
not
are
taking
wink, wink.
I know, exactly. All of a sudden they care about the deficit. But no, this will stimulate the economy. So I think when it comes to the corporate tax rate, that's extremely important to keep it low.
Well, Mark, you know how these things work behind closed doors. Is President Trump working the phones right now? Is he twisting arms? Is he making, is he listening to concerns and perhaps making promises?
Well, right now, what you're getting a lot of that with the House and the Senate right now, because obviously any changes that the Senate might want to make or Senator Rubio might want to make, the House is going to have to agree to. The broad framework is in place right now. The president's definitely going to work the phones. He's going to see what he can do to help push this across the finish line. I mean, the average American family of four making $75,000 a year is going to save $2,000 in higher paychecks, lower taxes beginning in February of next year if this thing goes through. So we're so close to the finish line. They'll do everything they can, and I think we will get there. It's just, it's a lot of sausage making right now here at the last second.
Emily, is it too much is it too conspiratorial to suggest that with these senators balking, that this could be not necessarily the beginning, but you have a lot of senators who've never seen eye to eye with President Trump, and after what's happened in Alabama this week, maybe saying to the president, listen, we are going to have a certain type of independence here that doesn't necessarily work with his agenda.
Well, I certainly think that when you saw, and I believe this was a couple weeks ago, but when you saw Bob Corker and Jeff Flake suddenly come out and say, we're concerned about what this tax bill is going to do to the deficit, I do think they were flexing their muscles. They were saying, listen, we are not in any way beholden to the president, both of them not seeking re-election. So I think absolutely there's some of that at play. And I think we'll see more of that next year as the president tries to push more of his agenda.
All right. Well, I got to tell you, it's a tough one. I mean, a lot of promises were made over 8 years and on the campaign trail. And America gave Republicans the Senate, the House, and the White House. And I think they expected a lot more by now. All right, guys. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.